everybody, it's Carolyn from Homesteading Family, and today I'm going to show you how to make dream cheese in your own kitchen. That's right, dream cheese, not cream cheese. It's a really simple cheese that you can make from all sorts of different products right in your own kitchen. It takes a few days, but only a few minutes of active work each of those days. And you end up with this amazing jar of an herb-coated soft cheese marinated in olive oil that you can pull out in the middle of winter and just enjoy on bread or crackers or with vegetables. This is such a nice thing to have on hand, and I'm going to show you every step. So let's talk about what you need in order to make dream cheese. So you can use your clabbered milk. I have some clabbered milk here. If you don't know what clabbered milk is, go ahead and check out our video on clabbered milk. You can use kefir, and this is a kefir that I have right here. We make it by the half gallon every day in our house during dairy season. We love it for smoothies, for dream cheese. I use it to culture my cheeses with when I'm making cheese. I use that instead of a store-bought culture, and we love that. You can also use a yogurt. And you can use a commercial yogurt, but you have to be careful. It needs to only be milk and live cultures. You can't have any added ingredients to it, like let's see, sometimes they want to put milk powders in it, or they put a gelatin in it, sometimes they put a pectin in it. They do all sorts of different things in order to thicken a yogurt without actually letting it just become real yogurt. And you can't have any of those products in there to make a dream cheese. So as long as you can find a yogurt that has active live cultures in it and is only milk in those cultures, then you're fine. You don't want to do a yogurt that has any sweetener of any sort in it, fruit or anything, okay? It would have to be completely plain. So I know a lot of you guys are going to want to try this, and maybe you're not making your own dairy, so go out and find some good store-bought yogurt, and that'll be just fine. And you're going to need some way of straining this, and the best thing to do is to have some unbleached muslin of some sort. Now this is actually a muslin food grade bag, and it is just for hanging yogurt to make Greek yogurt. And this is really convenient. It kind of has a drawstring. It's easy to hang. You know, this can be really nice. You can buy these on Amazon or all over the place. Another way to go is just some good butter muslin or some real cheesecloth. Not that stuff you buy at the grocery store that's more like gauze. That's not really cheesecloth. You can't really use that for cheese making of any sort. So some sort of really good muslin. If you have muslin from your sewing, you know, clean it up really good and you can use that. This is actually a butter muslin made just for this. And you can buy this on Amazon or cheese making supply stores, or, you know, really anywhere that has anything to do with cultures. Now, another option is you could take an old plain white t-shirt that is ready to become a rag, wash it up really, really well, then go ahead and boil it for a few minutes just to get anything out, you know, all that laundry detergent and everything like that out. And then you can use that, so you don't need to go buy something for this. Here I have a bowl, and then I have a colander set inside of it. And I'm just gonna line this colander with my cheesecloth, just like that. This is really simple. And all you're going to do is take, I'm gonna use the kefir today. I wanna use that yogurt for breakfast tomorrow. And the chickens will really like that clabber. So I'm gonna use the kefir. And so you're just gonna take that and pour it right into your cheesecloth. Gonna splash a little. And you can see this is where having that bag would be really handy because you don't have the loose edges then. So that can be really nice. But I want to show you how you can do this with something that you haven't had to go and buy specially. And oh, I forgot the kitchen string. Okay, and a piece of kitchen string. And I'm just going to take a nice bit of twine. This is just a cotton string here. And we're going to gather up the edges. But first let me show you a trick. When you're working with kitchen string, for anything that you need to hang. And this is true of drying herbs, of things like strings of onions, anything like that. If you take the two ends together, right here, these are the two ends, and you tie them together, you can then pull this. Now this is kind of tricky. Let's see if I can show it to you. You're kind of going to make a loop right here and hang things like this. And what that's going to do is it allows you that, you know, when there's tension down here, it's going to allow you to just slide that knot right off when you need to get it into it. But it also, as things dry, they tend to get smaller, whether we're talking fabric or we're talking herbs or whatever. And this just tightens right down on it some more. And plus this is reusable. Now I can use this over and over again. I just wash it just like I do the butter muslin. And so I'm going to gather up all the edges here and just make a little pouch. And all I'm trying to do is just drain off the liquid parts of this kefir or your yogurt. Those liquid parts are called the whey. And you just want to get as much of that whey out as you can. Now, I am going to put my string around this and get it tied down real tight. And let's see, it looks like I missed a little lip here and some of the kefir's coming out. There we go. So you see, I can just hang this up now, and this is gonna just drain. Can you hear all that whey draining off? And that's just gonna drain. And you can see back here that I have a couple of these already hanging here. And I just have some cup hooks. I took the cups off of them so I can use it for hanging whenever I want. And so this one right here has been hanging for a little over 24 hours at this point. And you want to let it hang for anywhere from 20 to 24 hours on this first stage. And that way you're just really getting that, that whey dripped out of there. Now, did you see I was able to take that string right off? If I had had that double knotted, I'd still be here fussing with it. Or I'd have to grab some scissors and cut it off. So this is really a much easier way to go. Now, what I have in here is just this beautiful cheese. You guys see that? Wow. That is so nice. And you know what? You can eat it just like that right there. It is delicious. And that is a soft cheese right there. That would be considered a yogurt cheese or a kefir cheese. You could put a little salt in that. You could put it in a bowl and top it with some jam or some fruit preserves or some fresh fruit if you had it in season. And that would just be lovely right there, just as it is. You could put some chopped chives and some salt on it and use it to top some crackers. There's a lot of things you could do with this. Now, some of this has stuck to the cloth, which is very normal, and I'm just kind of getting all those crumbles to go back into the bowl, because the next step of making a dream cheese that I can marinate in olive oil is then to salt this. And let's see, I have salt here somewhere. Here it is. I have 2 teaspoons of salt here. I started with a ½ gallon of kefir, and so that's 2 quarts. So the rule is 1 teaspoon of salt per quart of liquid that you start with, whether that's yogurt or clabbered or kefir, 1 teaspoon per quart. Now I have 2 quarts here, so I have 2 teaspoons, and I'm going to go ahead and grab a spoon. There we go. And I'm going to salt this and just mix this salt in really well. And yeah, that's a little salty, but you've got to remember you're going to be using this kind of as a spread, and it is going to be submerged under olive oil. And salting it really helps to make sure that that good bacteria is growing and not the bad bacteria. So you really want to give it the benefit of that good salting so that it can develop its cultures even further really well. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix that in. And then we are going to tie this back up And we're going to go ahead and rehang it for another 24 hours because moisture under oil is going to cause spoilage, and we just don't want that. So we really want to drain out all that moisture. And that's another thing with the salt that the salt does here, is that it's going to suck that moisture right out and help to get any remaining whey out of this product, so that you won't end up with something that's too moist and sitting under olive oil, which could be dangerous. Okay, so we have that mixed in. And so we're going to go ahead and just rehang that just the same. Now, I know it's really tempting at this stage to grab a fresh and clean cheesecloth. I would really recommend against it. And the reason why is because right now, this is completely inoculated with that good bacteria from your kefir or your yogurt. And that good bacteria is very advantageous against bad bacteria. You know, it protects it against the bad bacteria. So even though this is a little crumbly, and you can see I've got little crumbles coming off on my counter here, you know, I would go ahead and just hang it, and I always do, hang it right back in the same thing, because this really is going to be safer than something that doesn't have that good bacteria inoculated into it. So I am going to rehang this guy for another 24 hours. Now this one, I have already salted and hung for that other 24 hours. And you can see how much more whey it pulled out after that initial 24-hour hanging, just from salting it and hanging it again. So I'm going to dump this whey out. I'm going to just add it to the whey going down through the colander right here, so that I can use the bowl. This has already been salted, so we're kind of down to the last stages on this part. All right, and you can see that it has shrunk down even more. This was also a half gallon of kefir to start. So you can see we're getting down less and less each time we do this. But you can also see how much drier this is. My hands are very clean, except for touching the kefir. I haven't really been touching anything else, so I just washed them. Clean hands are important for this. You know, you don't need to go so far as to put gloves on. In fact, I think that's probably less clean than just good clean hands. So you can see that this is very dry. It's very crumbly kind of. And again, you could eat it at this stage. There's nothing wrong with it. It would be really good. It would be a little salty, just like this. So you'd want to probably have it in some sort of a savory dish. All right, so the next step is where we get really fun. And I have just a jar. Now you can see that this amount of cheese is not going to fill very much in this half-gallon jar, but I can just keep adding and adding and adding to it. So I like starting these half-gallon jars just because, you know, they save a lot of space on the counter, on the shelves, or wherever you're going to keep this, versus doing multiple quart-sized jars. And right here I have a bowl of just plain old Italian seasoning. So you can use whatever you can get at the grocery store. You can make your own, whatever. You don't need to be too worried about the technicalities of that. It's just Italian seasoning, whatever you like. You could do some other seasoning too. You could go with just all oregano. You could do maybe some dried basil. As long as it's all the way dry, then it'll be just fine in this. So then I'm going to just take this and I'm going to form a little ball. And you can see it molds right up. It's kind of like, I don't know, kind of like Play-Doh at this stage. It's really easy, very soft. The smell is kind of cheesy and maybe slightly tangy. It's not in any way a bad smell. It doesn't smell at all like putrid or rotting or anything like that. And that's important. You know, you have your nose and your senses for a really good reason. If it smells really bad, then don't eat it. It might have had, you know, some bacteria get into it that wasn't good. That's pretty unlikely for something like a kefir or a yogurt, even a clabber that's really well cultured. But you know, you always have your nose to tell you. All I'm going to do is roll this ball right up really well into these seasonings until it's completely covered. And can you see that? It's kind of pretty. I mean, it would be pretty just to serve with crackers just like that. And I'm just going to do that with all of this cheese and just gently set each one into the jar. All right, well, we have our dream cheese in balls rolled in our Italian seasoning right here. And you can see, you know, it doesn't make a ton of balls, but boy, one of those with a couple slices of good sourdough bread in the winter is gonna make a lovely lunch. Really easy, very satisfying. It'd make a great, really quick grab appetizer. It'll be so great. So, we've got our other bags hanging, and those will be made into dream cheese over the next few days as they come ready, and we'll just add them right on into this jar. Now the last step in this is going ahead and submerging these in olive oil. Go ahead and get yourself some good olive oil, and you're just going to gently pour it over. Now you really do want them completely submerged. So you want to keep them all the way under that olive oil. Now, let's go ahead and talk about storing this. If you have a consistently cool, preferably darker space, like a root cellar or a cool pantry of some sort, if you have something like oh, you know, more and more people have the wine refrigerators that keep it at like a cool temperature but not refrigerator cold. If you have a space like that, then keep it in there and it will do fine for really up to a year, as long as this olive oil is always covering the cheese balls completely. If you don't have a space like that, then just put it in your refrigerator. It will get hard. The olive oil will get solid in that cold temperature, but that's okay. It's still doing its job. So when you want to remove one, a cheese ball, you will need to let this come up to temperature so that liquefies. Otherwise, you'll just turn the whole thing into mush if you try to scoop out solid olive oil with the cheese in it. It'll make an absolute mess. So just go ahead and bring this out an hour before you want to get a cheese ball out. Let it come up to temperature a little bit. Scoop out a cheese ball with a nice clean spoon and make sure all the other ones are still under the level of the olive oil, and put it right back in your fridge. That won't hurt it at all. People have kept things under olive oil for thousands of years and been just fine. Although there can be the chance of having some bacteria in there. Now let's talk about why that's not a problem with this particular product. One is because it's a cultured product. This is filled with really good bacteria. And remember, you've got the good guys and you've got the bad guys. The more good guys you have, the less chance that you're going to have the bad guys. And so we've already got this product. I mean, we started with a fully cultured product, whether it was a kefir, a yogurt, or a clabber. And so you really have this strong presence of these good guys. So it's a very, very, very unlikely that you could have bad bacteria developing in this situation. But just in case, you also have that salt in there, which acts as the preservative also, and the bad bacteria can't grow in that. And on top of that, any sort of cultured product is acidic, and most of that bad bacteria, in fact all the bad bacteria, cannot grow in a highly acidic condition. And so this in this form is really safe, especially if you keep it at that lower temperature. If you have any doubts or any uneasiness at all, just stick it in the refrigerator. It'll be great for a whole year, and you will be able to take out and enjoy your own cheese all year long. You're gonna wanna let it sit for at least a week before you eat it to get to the best flavor. Not because there's a health issue there or there's right and wrong. It just won't be the best flavor because it won't have marinated quite a bit yet. And so, yeah, you can pull it out and eat some right now if you want. Just know that the flavor is gonna get better and better over the first week. Enjoy, you guys. You can do it. It's not that hard. You can do this in your own home. You can feed your family great, healthy, amazing food that you created yourself, and it will be so good for you, and you are going to see the benefits in your health, your skin. Your children are going to glow. They're going to be brighter without the brain fog. And it's just good all the way around. So get these good cultured products into your family. It's so important for your health. Take care, guys. Goodbye. For more videos like these, sign up at www.homesteadingfamily.com. Also, follow along on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.